Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Bright and early, midday for me in the afternoon. Garrett is here. Greg Henson, 3G himself, is here. I specifically wanted Henson here today. I've, of course, had some connection issues, so we're starting 15 minutes late. If they rear their ugly head while we're live, I might throw something through this screen. So be prepared for that as I try to iron out the connection issues as professionally as I can.
Maybe the warden is throttling you.
Dude, it's possible. I don't put anything past anyone. All of a sudden, my room was 80 degrees. The thermostat wasn't working, and there was no internet. Like literally 7 minutes before we're supposed to go live, boom, everything goes out. I'm like, are you kidding me?
They're smoking you out.
Are you kidding me? It's just unbelievable. But anyways,
did it come back up?
Yeah, we're up now. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking to you.
No, so. I mean, you got the lights on and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Everything seems to be working. So, how was your Thanksgiving, buddy?
Good. How about you? I said that we have 5 dogs at my house.
5 dogs.
Well, my brother has 2, and I have 3.
Yeah,
and his 2 are under a year. Mine is a little over a year, and the 2 other ones are 5 or 6 and 7. So.
Crazy.
They were, the older one was fighting with the puppy. It was a nightmare.
Yeah. I didn't have that issue. Do you table scrap feed the dogs?
I do mine too when they're when they're around, but not Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I do. I hook up Cece. I always have. She's
Me too.
Basic. Yeah. I don't care. She's getting. I constantly am Googling like, is it safe for dogs to eat this?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, in moderation. I'm like, good enough for me. Cool.
Pretty much chocolate is the only thing you can't feed them, and chicken bones.
And chocolate is bullshit too. For the most part, chocolate. Yeah, a lot of that's bullshit. There's like certain like pure cocoa that's bad. But Hershey's is not chocolate. And so like they get into a candy bar, they're fine. They might get the shits or something, but it's not going to kill them.
Oyster got into some Mackinac Island fudge once.
Yeah, I don't know. I had to call CC8. It's the first time and only time she's ever pulled something off the counter. We had one of those Sanders Bundt cakes with the cream that's chocolate cake, chocolate fudge frosting, and then the white cream filling or whatever. And she ate half a fucking tin. And I freaked. All of a sudden, she's sitting on the couch. She's probably a year old at the time, and she's just shaking like a leaf. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And I finally go into the kitchen. I see the pan. I'm like, oh, my God, I just killed the dog. How the hell did she get this? But she did. She ate the whole damn thing quietly. And I called poison control, and they're like, to proceed to talk to a vet, insert your credit card and pay us $60, and then we'll talk to you. And so I went through and paid the $60, these fucking criminals, and they gave me a vet, and they look up, there's like some formula. They look up, and they're like, yeah, she would have to eat 400 times that amount to be in any sort of danger. I'm like, so the chocolate thing's bullshit. And they're like, well.
You got to hold up a bundt cake factory.
Yeah, it was like, oh, okay, so she didn't do really anything. They're like, she's going to have wicked diarrhea and this, and I'm like, well, we can live with that. She never puked, never had diarrhea, nothing. She was fine. Shook like a leaf for a little bit, but that's it.
Yeah, Oyster had cookies and cream.
Oh, there you go.
And she took some of it and ate it, and we just kind of kept an eye on her, but she was fine. But you know what I did over the weekend, though? I got oyster booties for the snow.
Oh, my God, you did?
Well, she was limping after we had a lot of wet snow, and she was limping around, and I'm like, you can't really enjoy the park if you got ice in your feet.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that have done this. I get it. Out here, like these dogs will go out and they'll play. It's desert. And so they take one step and then they're like, ah, shit. And they got a goddamn cactus thorn in their hand.
Yep.
And you're like, oh. So it's like, this is all new to her. She doesn't know why the world is attacking her all of a sudden. And you're like, I'm sorry, sweetheart. I'm sorry. She's like, I'm used to walking around anywhere I want. Nothing bites me and
nice soft grass.
Yeah. Nice soft grass. Yeah, I feel bad for her, but she's figuring it out.
Yeah,
But
that's cool.
yeah, I wanted to have you on today, Greg. There's a few things. We'll get to Michigan, Ohio State in a second. Why don't we start with the Lions? I could see the smile on your face. I knew what the reaction was going to be. With the Lions Thanksgiving Day game, are you worried at all about the Lions?
Injuries.
Yeah.
I'm worried a lot about injuries. I liked a couple of signings. They signed a couple of guys today or over the weekend. That makes me feel like a little better. But then I watched the Eagles last night and I thought, shit, without our starters, and they're only down 4.5 starters on defense to a certain degree. 7 of the original guys are still going to be out there, although the D line's been shuffled and you're missing Hutch. And but it should be okay. And I'm at this point, and I'm pissed that they haven't separated from the Vikings.
Yeah.
Because then you could take a day off, right?
Yeah. It's killing me. It's killing me.
So I think, Green Bay, I'm a little concerned about Thursday night just because of injuries. They're still better than the Packers, but maybe the crowd should show up and help them out Thursday night.
I look at the Lions, and the problem is, of course, the 1 year they're an actual team. They're 11-1. 11-1, you should have 2-3 game separation, and they just don't. They don't even have it in their division. Like these teams refuse to fuck off even a little bit. It's like, God, can anyone in this league help us out? Just a smidge. Give them that breathing room, just a little bit. The problem is, you look at that schedule for the Eagles for the remainder of the year, and you look at the Lions, and it's like, I'm convinced the Lions are not going to have home field advantage all the way through the playoffs. They're not.
Why do you say that? What's the Eagles schedule?
Their
division games.
Pull up the Eagles schedule. Dude, they're going to go 5-0 to close the season. The Lions are going to lose a game here or there. They'll probably lose to the Bills. The Bills are legit. So you look at the schedules. The Eagles, is that their remaining schedule?
Yep, December 8th on the January 5th on here. So they've
got the Panthers, the Steelers, the
Commanders or Washington football team.
Yeah, the Redskins.
Yep.
The Cowboys and the Giants. That's Pittsburgh. Maybe does Pittsburgh give them a chance? The Commanders aren't that for real. The Cowboys are a joke. The Giants are a joke. The Panthers are an absolute joke. So there's no losses there for that team. None. And so you look at the Lions schedule. Garrett, if you could pull that up, I'm sorry. I should have sent this to you, but the Lions have Minnesota to end the season. Tough game. Green Bay. They have San Francisco. Buffalo. They have the Bills. Like, dude, that's a gauntlet to end the season.
And the Bears on the road.
Yeah, Bears on the road always play them tough. I expect the Packers will play tough on Thursday night. The Bills are a handful and a fucking problem. You saw what they did to my Niners last night. The Niners are a joke, but, and then the Vikings are a problem. The Vikings are not going to go away. So, this could easily be that they have a real problem. It's just a shame. You hope it goes your way, but if the Lions go 4-1, the other teams, I don't know what happens. I don't know what the tie breaks are. I haven't done enough research on that. I think it starts with division. The Lions can't lose in the division. They just can't. No. Because the Eagles aren't going to lose. Their division blows.
Well,
and you know what? Oh, I do know this. They both lost to Tampa Bay.
Okay. I will tell you, though, I feel like the Lion fan is in for one more kick to the balls before they get the glory.
Yeah.
So this year might be that one last kick to the nuts because I feel like every Detroit team who's ever popped through took a severe groin shot the year before,
Yeah. Historically, you mean?
Yeah, like the Pistons in 87, that inbound that was stolen, Isaiah's inbound.
Yeah. Even the Bulls had to get through a couple of years of those Pistons teams.
The Celtics Pistons had to get through them. The Tigers in 83 were close, no cigar. In 67, they collapsed down the stretch before they won in 68. The Red Wings got swept by an inferior New Jersey team the year
Oh,
before they finally won
brutal.
the Stanley Cup.
Brutal,
You're getting
yeah.
kicked in the nuts this year. That's just how I feel. I
Well,
hope not.
I look at it this way, though. Everybody, like Matt Eberflus, as soon as that play happened, I turned to G and I went, he's gone. He's fired. You're fired. You don't survive that. Those types of losses are so devastating. And immediately they're talking about Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson, Ben Johnson. Everybody in the league wants Ben Johnson.
He may not want the Bears job.
They say there's connections there that he would be interested in. I have just such a radically different perspective on this. I feel like, when you lose coordinators, because I've watched this with my Niners, right? The Niners had the best defense in football, one or two, year in and year out, and then it's like Robert Saleh goes. They lost another D coordinator in the guy that's now the head coach of the Texans, and the problem isn't just losing that coordinator. Those guys know who's your depth that is great in the locker room. The fan base might not know them, and they poach those guys. They take those guys. And so for context, Ben Johnson, it doesn't just go himself. He takes the Brock Wrights. He takes your depth, your pieces when they go. And so I feel like you have a window to get it done, and you either do it or you don't. And then it becomes exponentially harder.
Well, coordinators, I feel, get too much blame and too much credit. I feel like they always have.
Yeah.
And I think the guys who are doing in this organization who are doing the talent evaluation are Holmes and Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure those other guys are involved. I tend not to freak out over coordinators as much as a lot of people do. I just don't think they're that big a deal. And there are people who've wanted both of those guys fired this year. You know what I mean? Against Green Bay, they wanted him fired early in the year against Tampa. Then they wanted Aaron Glenn fired.
Yeah.
So to hell with that. But I think the two important guys are going to be here between Campbell and Holmes long term. And I'm not sure both these coordinators are going to run out the door, to be honest with you.
Well, I look at it like in 97 and 98, I was covering the Lions a lot. I was doing that for Riff, not covering them, but I was hanging out with a lot of those guys, going to practice every day, hanging out at bars, and you got to know these guys on a different level. And I'm sure you've done this over the years too, Greg. There were certain guys, like I'd have 10 of them out. We'd get a big limo bus, Riff would pay for it, we'd go party. There were certain guys on that team that you wanted in your locker room, and you knew pretty quick. You could tell like what their beliefs were as a human. Tommy Vardell is a guy you wanted in your locker room. Corey Schlesinger was a guy you wanted around your players and your team.
Right.
They weren't like known superstars in the NFL, but those are the guys I worried that get poached when coordinators go. They were the guys that they weren't just gonna run to the first piece of ass that came walking by them. They weren't gonna crush 30 beers and get naked in the bar. Like they were just upstanding human beings who happened to be really good at football too.
They weren't going to have guns. They weren't going to take PEDs. They weren't going to bet in the locker room.
Right.
They weren't going to throw a football in another player's face like that.
Yes, exactly. And they were smart enough to know, like, hey, you know what? I have a job here, and if I need to tell a fellow teammate to stay in line, like those are the guys. That's what they mean when they talk about a good locker room. That you've got enough of those guys. And I've watched it on the 49ers. I've watched those guys, Saleh go to the Jets and he grabs this guy and that guy. And then, DeMeco Ryans goes to the Texans and he takes this guy and that guy. And and you just watch them not be relevant in no time. That's my big fear. And I'll further say this. When you look at the Lions when they were purchased, William Clay Ford, when he bought the Lions in 1963, do you know what he paid for that franchise?
Oh God, $500,000?
No, he paid $4.5 million. But
was it that much?
Yeah, he paid $4.5 million for the Lions, which at the time would have a current day value of 46.42 million. And then you look at the value of these franchises now. It hasn't gone like the economy or just inflation over years. It's now billions of dollars. The Ford Motor Company is worth $44+ billion.
The family
The
alone's
Lions-
worth $8 billion.
The what?
Martha Ford's worth $8 billion.
Right. The Lions, they say, are worth $3.5 billion. I call bullshit. If you tried to buy the Lions, you're not buying the Lions for a penny less than probably $8 billion in reality. Like,
Probably.
you know what I mean? Like, if you want to be buying an NFL franchise, now that changes soon because nobody's going to have that kind of cash to buy a team. You don't have to be rich. You need a team, a committee of people. But right now, there's no such thing as a salary cap on coaches. So, like, I don't understand why it's like, okay, we want to keep this group together. I'm paying both my assistant coaches, because we think they're the real deal, $10 million a year. They're getting head coach of the league money, and they're not going anywhere. And fuck it. And the league will adjust. Make them change the rules to where you have a cap on an assistant. I feel like you could keep these guys where they are. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these guys just want to be the guy, but I don't get that feeling from Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn.
I think they eventually want to be the guy. I don't think they're in any hurry. They're both fairly young. I mean, you're not looking at 60-year-olds here, so they'll still get a shot. But you also have to go while the iron's hot, right? I mean,
yeah.
If you don't go now, you have a bad year, you get fired, and next thing you know, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
And you don't get your chance. I mean, look at Eric Bieniemy. All the Super Bowls, never got a head coaching job, and now he's the OC for a bad UCLA team.
Yeah, well, that one's an interesting one because he got all the interviews. He was obviously sucked in interviews. I don't know. Right. I don't know what he was saying in those things, but they tried to pin it on racism, and it was like, no, I'm not buying that.
Right.
He obviously doesn't interview well for whatever reason.
They've done that over the years with a lot of black guys who interview for jobs. They wanted to blame it on race when in reality, I don't think owners give a damn what color you are. They just want money and they want to win.
Yeah.
And I think they've proven that out time and time again. So,
well,
I don't know. Well, I think those coaches could stay. I'm not convinced they're out of here.
I agree. But I think if there's a way to do it, like if you look at the value of the New England Patriots pre-Tom Brady, they're probably valued less than the Detroit Lions. Today, they're worth twice what the Lions are. Their estimate values are $7 to $8 billion, where the Lions are $3.5 billion.
Right.
So there's one reason for that. It's 20 straight years of winning. So it equates to jersey sales and ticket sales and refreshment sales and parking sales. All of it goes into it. And when you have multiple Lombardi trophies, you become one of those franchises that the Cowboys are. No matter how bad they suck, they're still the Cowboys. They're the Steelers, the 49ers. The New England Patriots have joined that club where they're historic franchises. So to me, it's like, in the short term, blow the fucking Brinks truck out, pay who you need to pay where you don't have to worry about cap restrictions, and go get yourself a few Lombardis and become one of those franchises that doubles in value just by having a Tom Brady there for 22 years. Like,
I've always said the same thing, Mike. There's no cap on the coaches. There's no cap on anything with the players. So spend it everywhere else you can. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm not as worried about you as losing guys. I don't care about coordinators. I think these guys are good coordinators. But really, what separates coordinators? It's not that much. It's just not. Some of them have a little bigger balls than the other ones. Like, I mean, Penei Sewell taking a pitch and throwing the ball last week was pretty cool. You won't see many teams do that.
Yeah.
But don't you think they've got guys on his staff who are learning from him and what he's doing and can break down the film and replicate it? It's not. I don't know. I feel like a lot of these guys are a little overrated in what people say about them. Like, did you hear him after the game? Sharon Moore is a superstar in the making.
Yeah.
Hey, he's
Sure.
just finished 7-5, dudes, with
Yeah.
many mistakes along the way.
The story I worry about with the Lions and what they're doing, there's always these guys that are like, oh, this is the new guy. You know, Eric Bieniemy's a good one. Kyle Shanahan, when he came in, he's running the Shanahan offense, and the Niners, innovative, the plays, the shifts, the motions. They're doing shit no other team is doing. And Deebo Samuel's running wild. What do you do with Deebo Samuel? He's a freak. Look at him go. And it took about a year, and the league figured it out. And now every offense runs that offense, and the Niners are boring, stale, and the league's passed them by. Their window closed. I said it last year when the Super Bowl ended. I said, it's over. You're done. The Niners are done. They're over. It's over. The window closed. They're old. They're getting older. The league has caught up as far as Kyle Shanahan's offense. It's done.
They always do.
It happens so fast. And that's the reason it's like, oh, shit, I've seen this movie. I've watched this in real time. Ben Johnson, what he's doing right now, when you watch a Lions game, up until the last couple of weeks anyways, it looked different. It looked fresh, different, stylish. The league hasn't figured it out yet. He's got the horses. Like, you've got your window. It's open right now. And before these guys get poached, before these guys move on, you got to close this. You just have to.
Well, again, I don't know. I feel like it's a copycat league, and like you said, they figure it out, and they go on to the next guy. Like every year, like, you know, they tell you, oh, this quarterback is going to break all the records. Well, they're figuring out Lamar Jackson. They're figuring out CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
The only one they haven't had a real chance to figure out is Mahomes, because he doesn't do things conventionally. You know, that's the type of guy who'll dump an underhand pass off and stuff like that. But
they what? Yeah, I'm starting to
give them time. They'll figure you out.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. I think I think the Chiefs are a fraud this year, and Mahomes is almost plateaued, in my opinion.
His deal with Mahomes is they're begging to lose a game.
Yeah.
I mean, they tried. It's like Ohio State this year. It's like Georgia for the longest time. They were begging to lose games, and no one made it stick.
Yeah.
Till recently. But yeah, I think Kansas City, I don't think they're a fraud, but I think this year might be Buffalo's year to beat them.
Yep.
Even though I thought Buffalo was kind of down until I got a good look at them last night.
Be careful about that look. The Niners are just a lousy team. They broke officially after week 3. Then it sealed it week 5.
You got to be done with McCaffrey, dude. You can't count on him. You can't count on him.
I said that when they got him. When they got him,
it worked out short term.
It did. And I said at the time when they got him, I was like, okay, yeah, he's amazing when he's on the field. He's like Joey Bosa. It's like I see Joey Bosa more with a baseball hat backwards on the sideline than I do wrecking games. Like, that's just the reality of it. He's a stud when he's in there. He's just not in there enough. And McCaffrey, I felt the same way. It was like, yeah, he's amazing in highlights when you watched him in Carolina. And the Niners got a year and a half out of him. And now, and it's like you needed to close that deal. But it's going to be interesting down the stretch. I hope. Do you still think coming out of the NFC, the Lions are the team to beat? Or do you think like they're going to need some help? They're going to need that Eagles team is for real. Like Saquon scares the shit out of me. That whole team does.
The Eagles worry me if the Lions don't get some people back. Like, they could theoretically have Anzalone back before they play that game.
Yeah.
Or have to worry about it. Rodrigo's done. So you'd have Anzalone, you'd have Jack Campbell. But, you know, I worry about the injuries. That to me was the only thing that was going to stop them. Either an injury to Goff or a bunch of other ones.
Yeah.
They've had this. It's almost unbelievable. The starters that have gone down, and the Lions are still 11-1.
Yeah, they're 11-1, but it's a shaky 11-1. Honestly, the last couple weeks, I'm like, this doesn't look like the world beater they did for the first 9 weeks of the year. I
think it was just the Chicago game. I don't know, man. I feel
the Texans game.
That's a good team.
Yeah. I don't know. Who did they play? Was it the Texans? And then no, there was
Then
who was the
Chicago.
game? Then Chicago? Really?
Yeah.
Was it Texans? No. Wasn't there another game between those?
God, I don't know.
I think there was, and they won, but it was another subpar team, and they hung with them, and then they beat them in the end. But it was, to me, it was just like, yeah, these are one of those teams you blow up. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't remember. Dude, I can't remember what happened 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I bet you remember the Ohio State Michigan game.
I'm not familiar with their work. What are you talking about?
Someone pointed out to me what I was suffering from, which was Schadenfreude.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud that my Schadenfreude was on display,
Well,
which was,
explain yourself.
well, Schadenfreude is when you get overwhelming joy from someone else's failure, because I was so ecstatic, not for this Michigan team. This Michigan team is garbage, but that so many Ohio State Buckeyes fans were sad and devastated. I
They
was
played the
most
Colts,
happy.
by the way.
What's that?
The Lions played the Colts.
Yeah, the Colts game. There you go. The Colts
But
game.
before that, they also beat the Jaguars 54-0.
I know.
So, anyway,
Yeah.
okay. Go ahead.
Um,
So you get immense amount of joy in others' failures.
Yeah. So my joy was not that Michigan won that game. It was that Ohio State fans were crushed. I got so much joy out of that. It was an unhealthy level of joy in someone else's misery that I was getting.
Well, I think after a year of hearing these assholes talk about we're coming back to win it all,
Yeah.
the Jack Sawyers of the world, even a newcomer, Will Howard, who doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground in this series, to some of these other idiots like Lathan Ransom, and all they did was talk about this is it, do or die, coming back. We're gonna do what they did, and it was obvious to me early on in the season they weren't good enough to win the national title. They're good, but they're not elite. And this Michigan team, offense is trash. The defense has come on the last 4 weeks.
Yep.
But this is on Ryan Day because he simply chose the wrong strategy to beat Michigan. Yeah, let me try to run these two very mediocre running backs that I claim are All-Americans head on into the best defensive line of the country with 3 of my starting offensive linemen hurt. Meanwhile, on the perimeter, I got all day to throw the ball around. It's just fucking malpractice.
How does that happen where at halftime, like I assumed, okay, halftime's here. They at least have a quarterback who's capable of completing passes downfield. Michigan does not have that. So
Right.
when you don't have that, you turn into the elbow blowout of Brock Purdy in the first quarter against the Eagles in the championship game. Like it's so unfair that you can't compete. So, okay, obviously Ohio State's going to make their adjustments at halftime, start winging the ball around the field, and this is over. It was fun while it lasted.
Right.
And those adjustments didn't come.
I think Ryan Day has heard so much shit from Michigan over the last 4 years about how soft he is that he wanted to prove he didn't have a vagina, that he had a cock and balls. So he was going to run the ball at Michigan. That's what he was going to do. I'm going to do what they say I can't do. I'm going to go and run the ball. And his ego got in the way. He got out over his skis. And it was very evident early on that they were not going to run the ball successfully. And I don't believe you have to outrush the other team in this series. That's a coincidence. When you can throw the ball like they can, why would you ever stop?
Yeah. How big is what Michigan did Saturday? How big is that for the remainder of the season for the Ohio State Buckeyes?
I think Ohio State's not good enough. If they have to go to Tennessee, I think they could lose. They've tried to lose games. The best win they have is against a very mediocre Indiana team. Indiana shouldn't have beat Michigan. Indiana played nobody. If Michigan had a competent quarterback, they would have won that by 2 touchdowns. And the problem is Notre Dame or is Ohio State flawed at head coach. They have a bad offensive line again. They're soft on the offensive line. And when push comes to shove, Michigan could strap their helmet on and push people around, even with an offensive line that's not up to snuff for the past 3. And Ohio State couldn't. They couldn't move the ball against Michigan. And, the linebackers played really well. I got to give it to Michigan. Hausman and Barham played well, but they should have had the advantage on the perimeter and never took advantage of it because Ryan Day is a mental midget. And, my kids always joke, it's 4th and 1, Michigan will run it right at you.
Yeah.
4th and 1, Ryan Day calls a jet sweep. He always does. And he ran that play and almost got Will Howard killed on 3rd and 2.
Yeah.
And, I just think that's a microcosm of what's wrong with them. They're not a tough program. They're Louis Vuittons. That's what they said last year. These guys show up. Marvin Harrison showed up in his Louis Vuitton handbag. That epitomizes who they are. They think they're the Democratic Party. They're the team of the elites.
Yeah. Well, they spent $20 million on their roster. They talked nothing but shit for 365 straight days.
After losing 3 in a row.
After losing 3 in a row, it ends. We've spent the money. We've got the right amount of 5-star talent as far as on paper goes. It was like it was a given. This was a gimme throwaway at home, favored by 13, 20, whatever they were favored by.
21 points.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that has got to be soul crushing. Even if, let's say they go on and they play the perfect remainder, the rest of the season, they get to a natty and win. They still lost to Michigan. Holy shit. Like, dude.
But I will tell you, nothing good comes out of a national championship in Columbus, so we need them to lose.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't think they're going to fire Ryan Day.
Oh, that was my next question to you. Is Ryan Day going to survive this?
I think Ryan Day's more likely to quit. He's got a $38 million buyout. Would you rather spend that money on players or buying out a coach?
Yeah.
A coach who's, oh, by the way, winning 10 games a year. It's the same argument I would have made for Harbaugh. Everyone said, well, he sucks. And I'm like, yeah, really? He's winning 10 games a year, except for the COVID year. He'll eventually probably break through in the NIL era and get the national championship. But Michigan needs to stem that as well as they can right now while they rebuild under their new coach. A lot of great momentum for Michigan right now with the Underwood commitment. Ohio State got another quarterback today for 27. He's a kid still, but Michigan's got a lot of work to do. It's by no stretch over, but I don't know. I don't know who you would want over Ryan Day. Vrabel's made it clear he doesn't want to coach college kids and recruit.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
No, I don't either. I don't know why anyone would.
No, I wouldn't put up with that. No way. Dealing with people's parents and all that shit, and then they want big money to forget it. No, professional babysitter.
Harbaugh, though. You texted me during the game, though. It was so funny.
What's that?
You texted me during the game, and I'd been saying all week they had a puncher's chance, especially if Will Johnson played, which he didn't. He quit. So I don't know, man. Michigan isn't going to get blown out with 4 first-round picks on that defense. They're just not.
Yeah, but not having an offense, it was like, okay, they either win 3-0 or they don't have a chance. Like,
and they did.
Yeah, they essentially did.
They didn't. They only got a touchdown because of a short field pick.
Yeah, which was amazing.
Yeah,
amazing. It was, dude. All I could say. I tweeted out afterwards. It was like. Honestly, all I could think was it was like when you were a little kid and all you wanted from Santa was that new gaming system, but you knew in reality you weren't going to get it. And then by some Christmas miracle, there it was under the tree. They had no business winning that game. Nobody thought they could. And it was just so, I can't believe how exciting it was to see them hang in there with zero offense, nothing, no quarterback. How do you,
saying, we're going to choke you out.
Yeah.
Like a bad hooker.
So I don't pay enough attention to Ryan Day. I know people talk shit about like all the born on third comparisons. Like when you talk about Harbaugh, I knew Harbaugh he was fine at Michigan. I watched him with San Francisco. I watched him at, was it San Diego State? I watched him at Stanford.
No, San Diego.
San Diego, yeah. San Diego, Stanford, the Niners. Like he'd proven already what he could do.
He started at Western Kentucky recruiting for his dad.
Right. He just had it in him. And, going to Stanford and doing what he did, going to the Niners and doing what I knew that was coming with Michigan, whether it took longer than I thought. I thought he'd get a quarterback faster, but I had no doubts that Harbaugh would be the guy you'd want in that position. No doubt. Even when people were talking shit and State fans wanted him signed forever, like I knew that was a joke. What is Ryan Day? People talk about him being born on third. What are they talking about?
Well, because basically Urban Meyer handed him the program. He had, that program was ready-made, and he handed it to him, and he acts like he came from the bottom, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't. He was given the program just a lot like Sharon Moore. Sharon Moore was given that program too. Although, they both toiled at other schools, but wasn't Ryan Day at Oklahoma or something? He was the young wonder child. You know what I mean? The wonder kid.
Yeah.
And that's what Jim Harbaugh said in a press conference. He goes, some people were born on third base, but act like they hit a triple. And that is what really broke Ryan Day. I really think that's where, now he wants to prove Harbaugh wrong. Why? Because he respects Harbaugh and he knows better. But I'm looking here. I was looking where his coaching lineage. So he started at New Hampshire, where he's from. Then he was a GA at Boston College in Florida, Temple, Boston College, Temple, Boston College, Eagles quarterback coach, Niners quarterback coach. And they plucked him from the Niners as a quarterback coach to be the OC at Ohio State. 2 years later, he was the head coach. So
wow,
he didn't exactly go the traditional path. Even Sharon Moore had to go to Oklahoma as a GA, had to go to Central Michigan for a while with that old numbnut they hired from the Lions.
Morning leg or one of those.
It was the special teams coach, Bonamigo.
Oh, yeah.
The Lions special teams coach or something who went to Central and then got fired for the guy who just quit, Brian. What's his name? The guy who fucked the shark.
Fucked the shark?
You don't remember when he was at Florida? There's a picture of him that came out. Oh, Google this and have Woke Bay put it up.
I'm working on it. I already got the tab open.
What's his name? Jim McElwain humped shark. And then everyone claimed it was him. He's denied it to this day, but it looks a lot like him. He's naked, laying on a shark that he caught or something. Did you find it? McElwain, ELWEIN.
Garrett will find it.
Yep, I got it right here. Hold up.
Okay, watch this. So this is the guy who just resigned. He was at Colorado State. He coached Florida, the Gators, for a few years. Then came to Michigan as a assistant, analyst, and then got the Central job.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. He denies that's him.
He denies it's him. Looks just like him.
Yeah.
He got fired shortly after that picture.
That's hilarious. Oh, that's funny.
Covered him with the peach.
Oh my God.
Look at the shark one. No,
get off me, you weirdo.
And now you're laying with your fat ass on top of me. This is no way
dick
to
and
go
balls
out.
on my back. Oh my God. So what did you make of the brawl after the game?
I loved it. It's now part of the lore. It's with the banner being torn down. It's with Michigan tackling the Buckeye, running the flag around. It's the fights coming out of the locker rooms. It's the double bird by the Ohio State guy when he got thrown out of the game in, I think, 19. I mean, it's great for the rivalry. The pearl clutchers are the ones who try to ruin everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that was wrong was the pepper spray. That was not necessary.
Yeah, that seemed a bit much. The amount of people that are like, what a classless move by Michigan, blah, blah. And I'm like, classless move? I mean, doesn't this go back years? And, I've been watching Nick Bosa on the Niners. He was at Ohio State, and the flag planting didn't Baker Mayfield at Oklahoma do that to Ohio State? And then he got payback in the NFL.
Did it to Michigan this year.
Yeah.
Normally when you lose, you sprint off the field. Ohio State needs to reevaluate singing Carmen, Ohio at the end of a loss.
Yeah.
Because they were in their own end zone singing the alma mater while Michigan was celebrating, and Michigan has every right to celebrate. I don't care if they plant a flag or stick it up your ass. They have every right to do as they please. And if you ever watch Michigan, when they lose, they sprint to the locker room. There's no dicking around on the field. They sprint to the locker room. And the other thing is, if they do end up mixing it up, who the fuck cares? Who cares? These are grown-ass men woofing. Let them woof. I didn't see anybody pull out any shanks or shivs, did you?
No. And there's such a difference between being in the locker room, pulling a helmet off, and then beating someone in the head with it. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen that kind of stuff, like planting a flag. Look, I'll be honest with you. I think the celebrations are toddler-esque, and it bothers me so much in the pros in college. Any of that shit, it bothers me because I know you practice that. You got together like a dance squad and practiced this move, dance troupe move together. That creeps me out. But dude, it is what it is. They all do it. They put on stupid glasses on the sidelines. They plant flags after a big win, acting like all of a sudden now the pearl clutches, as you call it, like really? Now we're going to act like, well, they've crossed a line here.
What do we have in common with these fights? What's in common? It's all sore losers who couldn't beat Michigan.
Yeah.
It's Michigan State twice. It's Ohio State this year. Ohio State was yapping on the way in and they were yapping on the way out, and they still carried the L. Look, back in 90, when Deion Sanders and Casey Weldon and all those guys were at Florida State, they came to Ann Arbor and kicked the piss out of Michigan. You know what they did after that game?
What?
They went over and cut a big square out of the turf and took it back to Tallahassee.
Really?
That's what they would do. If you look, and then they plant it in Tallahassee in the graveyard. That was their thing.
Yeah.
What do you do? You lost. They own you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get any of this.
Well, no, it's the social media aspect of it where it gets blown up and it's like, oh, what a classless move by this group. And it's like, wait a minute. I've been watching every team do this like it's an original thing now. I'm planting a flag. I don't know if they all think they're the next TO. I'm going to go stand on the star, that kind of thing. Like, it's been done. They all do it. And to the victor go the spoils. Like, that's
right. We're here to take your women.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or your dudes and Garrett's.
And Garrett gets all the men.
All the dudes left. I'm good.
Pick of the dudes. What?
It's just less competition for you guys. Don't worry.
That's right.
Yeah.
You can have them all.
No, take them all, dude.
Take them all. I don't know. I don't get the pearl clutching. I don't care about it. And on social media, I laugh because there are people legit on social media who think if they call Michigan classless, it really hurts the brand. Oh, this will keep recruits from going there because I, with my 45 followers on Twitter, said they're classless. I mean, rival fan bases are retarded. Can I just say that? You are.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's funny. I didn't go to either. I don't have a stake in this, but I you just see it all the time, and it's silly. But to me, it was like, you could have been the bully. You could have been the bully. Doing it in the fifth quarter and requiring pepper spray doesn't mean anything.
It
looks
like a seemingly innocent Michigan celebration.
Yeah.
Until Ohio State came running over.
It had to sting more so than at any time. Like, you were a 20-point favorite. You were the big paid roster. You'd been getting embarrassed. You thought they cheated for 3 years. That's the only reason they beat you. And then to go fucking, we're going to blow you out. This is just a formality going and playing this game. Absolute formality. And I was telling G pregame, if they get the chance to run up the score to 100, they will. Yeah. They will put 100 spot on this team if they're given the chance. 50 is not good enough. If they can put up 60, 70, they will. And you know what? You don't want them to do that? Fucking stop them.
Right.
Period.
And Michigan did. And they did.
And Michigan did. And Ohio State, it looked like couldn't handle that. They could not handle the fact that, the embarrassment. Holy shit.
I think anything short of embarrassment was embarrassing Michigan was going to be a loss for them.
Yeah.
Halfway through, about the fourth quarter starting, I looked at my kid and I said, well, this doesn't look good for them no matter what happens. Even if they win 21-13 now, it's
Yeah.
still bad. You're still way underperforming. And now, I mean, I think Ohio State's good enough to win it all. They're good. They're as good as most. I think Oregon's the best team now in the Big Ten. But if they do what they do best and don't try to beat Michigan, they got a shot to win games. You know what I mean? Don't try to run the ball against Oregon. Get it out on the corners where you're going to have an advantage against 9 out of 10 teams.
Yeah.
Brian Day's an idiot.
Yeah.
I knew when he said losing to Michigan was the second worst thing that's ever happened behind the death of his father. I knew it was in his head. I was thinking, oh my God, did he say that? He just said this is a close second to his dad's death.
Yeah.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah. Perspective, young man. Perspective.
Yeah. You have none.
Yeah.
It also doesn't help that he's not from the state of Ohio. Somebody put a stat out today. And it's something like they're 30-7-1 when they play Michigan with guys coached by guys from Ohio. And they're like 7-17 or 7-18-1 or worse, 7-30-1 when they're coached by guys outside of Ohio. And the last guy outside of Ohio was John Cooper.
Really? Oh.
Yep. And they see him as 2.0.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope they keep him. No, to me, I was like, okay, Michigan's probably going to lose this game, somehow, but this is already a loss for Ohio State, in my opinion. One of our listeners here, John, was talking shit to me. He's a big Bills fan. He knows I'm a Niners fan too. And they played last night and he was talking shit. I was like, dude, I wouldn't even consider it a win unless you win by 24. That's how fucking fraudulent and bad this Niners team is. Unless you win by 24 points, it's basically a loss for you. Right. They won by 25. And he was like, we won by, and I was like, yeah, I felt the same way about Ohio State, Michigan. Like if Michigan would have lost, Ohio State eked out a 13-10 win in their direction. No, dude, that would have been humiliating too.
Yeah, anything short of a 25-point win or 21 or 22, whatever the line was when it was at its highest.
Dominating.
Yeah, it was embarrassing.
Yeah, you needed a dominating performance. And it just, again, my Schadenfreude, it was on fire. It just was. I was so happy. What do you got there? Oh, that's a ois.
No, she came in because she's wondering when we're going. Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah, she knows. Hi, Oyster.
She's she's a good girl. Here she comes.
Well, I'll hi, Oyster. Go up on Dee's lap. Hop up on Dee's lap.
Everyone gets to see the baby girl.
Yeah. There she is. Hi, sweet girl. Oh, there she is. I wish that I don't know if everybody else is seeing you all blurry, Greg, like I am. There's like a delay. It's throwing me off a little bit, and then it's all blurry.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why that is, but yeah. Oh, look at her. She's the best. Yeah. Are you guys going to the dog park next?
We're going to go to the indoor park when we're done because that one, it's dark already. Plus, we're supposed to get like 8 inches of snow tonight.
Seriously?
It's lake effect. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been hitting already.
Yeah. Well, before if you got to run, let me know. And
no, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
You think I'm leaving without talking about Hunter Biden?
Yeah, dude. Okay. That's where I was going next. President Biden announced last night that he signed a pardon for his son, and then he quickly fucked off to Angola, which is perfect.
The best part about the pardon is it covers like a decade.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It starts, Greg. It starts in like January 1st of 2014. I don't know why he picked. Why did he pick 2014 of all years? Right.
And I think it's funny because Biden wasn't even president then. And it's like, well, no one politically targeted you in 2014. You weren't even in office.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh no, but that's when
he was.
Took
as VP.
He was VP, and that just happens to be the year that his son took a board seat at Burisma.
Right, it is.
So Yeah.
April of 14 was when he got his board seat.
Right. So if you're wondering why he picked the blanket immunity for anything that anyone did associated with anyone in the Biden family starting in 2014, there's your answer.
Right.
Insane. Do we have the Karine Jean-Pierre?
Yeah.
Do we have her if you just wanted So here you go. Here she is talking about whether or not her boss is going to pardon Hunter Biden at some point. And these are the multiple times that she was just shooting it straight.
Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No. I just said no. I just answered.
The president would not pardon or commute the sentence for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
His son, Hunter, is also up for being sentenced next month. Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
President Biden says that he's not going to pardon his son, Hunter. Is he going to ask Donald Trump to do that?
I don't have anything else to share about that. I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole on this. I've been very clear. The president's been very clear when we've been asked this question.
But from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president...
Well,
that's good.
The best part, we all knew that was happening. I had no doubt he would pardon him. Again, the lie is worse than the actual act. Just lying about it. How would you feel if you were one of his acolytes who came out over the last year and said, no, we're not pardoning. We're not doing it. We're not doing it.
Yeah.
And then he just threw you out to look like an idiot.
Yeah. Dude, it's remarkable how, you can just say that over and over and actually kind of grandstand about it, about how we here believe in the rule of law. No one is above the law. No one's above. Like, it's just, there's the lack of shame is what gets me more than anything.
I'm Trump. You know what I do in my first day in office? I pardon everyone on my staff for a decade.
Yeah.
I would say starting my last day in office, the rest of them are all immune from everything. You're going to have to now because of the way they weaponize justice. And they're going to have to start doing that. I don't mind Biden pardoning that idiot. It's his son. Of course he's going to pardon him.
Of course.
But the fact that he lied to your face when it was obvious he was going to pardon him makes me really sick. Yeah. Well, his statement too. Today, I signed a pardon for my son, Hunter. From the day I took office, I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision-making, and I kept my word, even as I have watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted without aggravating factors like use in a crime, multiple purchases, or buying a weapon or a straw purchase. People are almost never brought to trial solely for how they filled out a gun form. No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's case can reach any conclusion other than Hunter was singled out only because he's my son. And that is wrong. There has been an effort to break Hunter and turn break me. And there's no reason to believe it will stop here. Enough is enough. You lying sack of shit. He's a dick. It's kind of like no one's ever been brought up on charges for overvaluing how much a property's worth and then paying back the loan in full with interest. I mean, what they always are doing what they accuse others of doing.
People used to say that a few years ago, and I would go, yeah, I guess, or I see where you're going with that. No, it's fucking true, man.
Yep. If they're accusing you of it, they're doing it.
Yes. Like that was the threat to democracy they always complained about. Yeah. All this kind of it's unbelievable. Hunter's guilty pleas and convictions. By the way, for him to be this smug about this, like, oh, poor victim Hunter. Victim Hunter. They're going after him because of me. No, go fuck yourself, man.
I agree.
The least of this absolute bankrupt family, corrupt family. This was nothing more, by the way, to simply look like they were not being partisan by these bullshit trials against Trump. That's all that was. Like, hey, who are we? We would never stand in the way of justice. Nobody's above the law.
Right.
He would never dream of getting involved with Hunter because, and it sort of gave cover for all the shit they were pulling with Trump and all I can think, Greg, is thank God the country as a whole saw through it. They just did.
Well, when he discussed it, when he said all this crap about, no one's above the law, this and that, it was, meanwhile, he was persecuting Trump, not prosecuting, he was persecuting Trump.
Yeah.
And the Jan 6ers, who should all get pardons.
Every one of them.
All of them on day one. All of them. I don't
Greg,
care.
I haven't said that. I have not said that on this show yet that he should pardon. Today, I'm saying he should pardon all of them.
All of them.
Fuck it. All
it's
of them.
It's a joke. It's a fucking joke. They're
You've
all
made a mockery.
They're all political prisoners.
Yep.
And they need to be turned loose on day one.
Yep.
They better be home to celebrate Groundhog Day. Because that's what joke their prosecution was.
Yep.
And then to have Hunter Biden say, I'm going to dedicate the life I've been re-given to help those in need. Oh, fuck you. All you've ever done is enrich your family. This is what happens when you pardon. You have to pardon your partner in crime, right? And that's what he's done. This worked out perfectly for the Bidens. They enriched them. They got thrown out in a very sympathetic way out of office. And he's going to be able to ride off in the sunset with no baggage. He's not Washington like they want him to be. But he's untouchable now. Unless he pardons himself, which will be interesting, because if I'm digging now,
dude, he doesn't give a shit at all. He doesn't. This guy, I'm becoming a fan of him. He is the reckless gunslinger at this point. He doesn't give a shit what you think. He doesn't care what the Democrat Party thinks. He doesn't give a shit what the American public thinks. What the thing that the American public, a lot of them are just learning now is they've believed that narrative that, oh, he's just Uncle Joe. He's Scranton Joe. He's a good guy. He's just a good father. No, he's a nasty, nasty politician. Joe Biden is a historic level sack of shit. He just
Everyone will tell you that. Anyone who's ever worked on Capitol Hill has a Joe Biden story. He's a prick. He's a underhanded, backstabbing son of a bitch. And they all know it. And you know what? Half the country will buy whatever you sell them. Yeah.
Oh, I said it to the warden yesterday, Greg. I said,
hey, you did this?
Yeah, I did.
What did the warden say about the party?
I made the mistake. I'll tell you exactly what the warden said. I just looked at it. I was doing some dishes upstairs.
Can I guess what she said?
Yeah, go ahead.
He was being targeted. She's going to go with the company line.
Okay, so she's nastier than that. So no, that would be a reasonable leftist response. No, I said, hey, I don't know if you heard, but 24 minutes ago, Joe Biden pardoned Hunter. And I understanding she would not have the context. She wouldn't know that he has said for a year straight, and everybody in his orbit has said, we believe in law and order. We believe in justice. There are no separate rules for elites. They've played that card. She wouldn't have even known that. So her response was, first thing out of her mouth, Trump's way worse.
Oh, I wish I'd have guessed that because it's always Trump. It's like, always Trump.
I was like, hold
what has Trump been convicted of? Seriously.
Dude, I literally laughed. I didn't know what to respond. I didn't know what to expect, but it literally not Trump's way worse. Trump's way worse.
Did you respond to her?
No, dude, no, you don't. No, you don't bother.
You're a pussy.
Yeah. Look, man, I got to be really careful about what I say and how I say it.
Say it.
But there are some people that
pressure.
are.
Wait, text me what I should say.
Yeah.
Fuck the warden. That bitch ain't right.
No, dude, I feel bad. Honestly, part of me feels bad because these people have been unfairly ginned up to believe something for many years now. They've been lied to, and once the
You
hardest
really
part.
want me to say this, Mike?
Everyone
She's
sees
not-
my hands. I'm not texting anything.
I doubt she's a twat. Really?
No, no, I say that to her face. I feel here's kind of listen to me, Greg. I feel like a lot of these people I know, taking the warden out of it, because she's a special case. A lot of these people pride themselves on how smart they are. They do a lot of that, like, it's country bumpkin conservatives, these dummies that can't move the country forward. Like they deny science. They say stuff like that. And so for those people, it's really, really hard to wrap their head around that they were fooled by a landscape media that bullshitted them for many, many years in a row. It's very hard for them to admit, like, God damn it, Russiagate was all bullshit. Wait, the COVID mandate lockdowns, all of it was most of it was bullshit, and most of it was destructive, and they lied to me about it. Like, it's hard for people to admit that when they've planted the flag so firmly in, we're the intelligent ones.
Right.
So what do you do?
I love the intelligence line because we have our fair share of bumpkins on the right.
Of course.
But they have their fair share of idiots on the left, too. I mean,
yeah.
Have you seen the fights at Walmart? Have you seen the fights at Waffle House? Those are Democrats.
Yeah. Well, they're both probably.
Right.
It's the problem I have at its core, it's identity politics. That's the problem. When you start identifying groups of people by skin color or race or gender, or they're part of this community, education, instead of just looking at individuals and going, I like Greg because Greg's a nice guy. When I have him on, he gives relevant information about whatever we're talking about, and it furthers what we're doing. It doesn't mean all guys who look like Greg Henson would do the same thing as Greg Henson. Like, no, I'm specifically here talking to you because I like talking to you. But they seem to do this, like, all white people did this. All
who
gay
disagree
people,
with me.
Right. Who disagree with me. Exactly.
You're racist. If you disagree, you're sexist. If you disagree, you're misogynist. If you voted for Trump, you're against women. It's all
right.
You know, that's they love to live in the collective until they don't. You know what I mean?
Right. Until they get booted out.
Yeah, right. And
right.
And one of the bedrocks of being a conservative is you're a rugged individualist. You believe you'll make it on your own. You don't need a safety net. You don't need help from others outside of family and friends, people who are willing to help you, that may want to help you. And you know, you're not basically not begging the government to help you.
Right. But there's no shame in saying in there when people say stuff like all GOP supporters are X, Y, or Z. Like, they're all stupid. And it's like, really? Do you think that's really what's going on? Is they all believe the problem in your thinking is you think that everybody that thinks like you thinks the same way. The people on the right don't all think the same way. That's the disconnect that you're seeing.
There's a lot of people on the left who don't believe that too, because there are some union guys who for a long time were thrown in that stupid bucket by their own party. You know, the unions were a necessary evil. Minorities were a necessary evil for that coalition, but it's been absconded by leftist elite white women, who think they know what's best for Black people. They know what's best for union people because they care more, Mike. We care more for our fellow brothers and sisters, and that's why it's turned off big chunks of the working class, big chunks of minorities, even big chunks of minorities outside of Blacks into Hispanics and Jewish voters. And that's because white women are nuts. I say.
Yeah.
The warden and her friends are crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy to me because they so firmly want to give the impression that, you know, like when they're attacking, like, men don't care about women. If you voted for Trump, you hate women. You want to hurt women. Like but then at the same time, when you go, you know what, my problem with Springfield, Ohio, for instance, and dumping 20,000 Haitian migrants into a community is it's really hurtful for those individuals that live there. And it's like, we don't care about them. Like, wait a minute. How does that work? How do they rationalize that where it's like, oh, if they don't believe what I believe, then they're dead to me. They don't exist. Like, it's so easy for me to see what that does to a community. If you dump 20,000 Haitian migrants into a community of 60,000, that's going to tax all the health services, the school systems, the everything down to your garbage pickups. Everything's going to be altered. Everything.
And you're dumping them with big paychecks. They can pay more for rent than the locals. So they take up all the rentals. It's not it's the money they bring with them that takes up the rentals from the middle class people who live there. And it's not like some big paydays coming for people who've been living in Springfield for 25 years and working their job every year. That's what these people don't seem to understand.
Well, I get, like, to me, it's so obvious on its face. Like, oh, remember when you tried that in Martha's Vineyard and they kindly told you to fuck off within 12 hours and bust everybody out? Like, they had that power, influence, and money to be able to do that. The difference in Springfield, Ohio is they know that those people can't do anything about it. So if nobody goes to bat for them, they are just stuck in whatever system you've thrown onto them. They don't have a voice. They don't have media elite friends to take up the charge for them. They don't have the funds to reinvest in their own communities and hire more services, social services, language interpreters, more teachers to expand class. No, they don't have that opportunity. So you basically just go, yeah, fuck them. They're dirty, middle of the country, poor people anyways. Who cares? It's kind of how it looks. For Trump. Right.
And that's why they do it. They're trying to put those migrants in swing states. That's why Texas shoves them right back out to New York.
Yeah, I loved it. It was my favorite play that they did over the last 4 years. Brilliant.
And I would keep doing it. I would send every migrant to California. I just would.
Yeah.
New York, California, Chicago, any city, any state that wants to vote for that, just send them there and make them stay there. I would just say, look, here's your status. In Illinois only, California only.
Do you get the feeling that the look it in the mirror, like taking stock of what just happened, is happening, or do you think people are doubling and tripling down?
Oh, the rumor is that the AOC thinks she's got a path to the presidency now.
Yeah, hilarious.
No, because the parties was hijacked by those 5-6 women and that one dude. The squad has held that thing hostage, much like Matt Gaetz did for the Republican Party. He really did too when he got Mike Johnson thrown, or the old speaker,
Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah. So the extremes have got to be marginalized. The new Speaker of the House, the Senate Majority Leader, have to sit on those guys. If you're far left, far right, you got to sit on them and push them to the extremes and get them out of the mainstream. And hopefully MSNBC will be smart and stop giving them a platform. AOC shouldn't have a platform. She shouldn't have a seat. She shouldn't have a platform.
No, it's been forced on him. What did you think of the announcement of Trump nominating Brendan Carr to lead the FCC? Do you have any thoughts on that? Have you done?
I'm not really. What's his deal?
So he did the rounds on some of the Sunday shows. I'm gauging it by how bad are they freaking out on the liberal media. Mm-hmm. If like Kash Patel is flying too close to the sun. I love Kash Patel. And again, Garrett, I think you have a different opinion of Kash Patel.
I'm half and half.
And I don't have to agree with everything someone stands for to be able to support them.
I want him to execute Trump's plan.
Yes, exactly. It's as simple as that. So I think, Garrett, and you can mention what your issue with Kash Patel was, for instance.
I just don't like that one of his first speeches coming up was America needs to wake up and start protecting Israel again. I'm like, how about we wake up and protect America first?
Yeah.
It's not good right now. It's not, especially not with the claims that Trump is going to basically turn Israel into the new Ukraine war and keep funneling money that way.
Yeah, I don't know. I know I became a fan of Kash Patel when I heard interview after interview of him talking about the levels of corruption in the FBI.
And that I like. I do respect
And
that.
for that alone, like I'll deal with whatever his bullshit is on Israel. I like, okay, no. This is important. What's going on, most of us can see it for what it is. Go there and fucking run roughshod. Brendan Carr, for his point, he said he was on. He did one of the Sunday morning shows, Fox News, and said, first of all, I thank President Trump and his transition team. Is really knocking it out of the park with these picks. They're putting a broad variety of people that represent Trump's unique coalition. DC doesn't like it. And I think that means that he's doing it exactly right. Combating tech censorship is going to be one of the top priorities for me. We need to restore Americans' right to free speech. And you mentioned Facebook and other companies. They have been part of a censorship cartel that have worked with advertisers. They have worked with government officials to censor the free speech rights of everyday Americans. That ends. Because censorship isn't just about stopping words, it's about stopping ideas. America's a country of founders and ideas, blah, blah, blah. I love that. Those talking points are music to my ears. It's why America's scrappy entrepreneurs feel so much hope with President Trump. They know the wet blanket of government control is lifting. Trump is going to unleash economic opportunity and a great American comeback. Smashing the censorship cartel is part and parcel of getting our economy going again.
Yeah, I think,
like that.
but I think that's generally what the platform is outside of even FCC. I mean, regulation, the undue burden put on small business, energy, all that stuff's got to go away.
Yeah. And California gets it the worst, and they're tired of it. We'll see how that goes. What kind of pull do you think the FCC has? For those that don't know, the FCC handles, over the air cable, or not cable, but over the air broadcast and radio broadcast. They don't control the internet. They don't. So I don't know what.
It's anything you can pick up with a radio receiver, really.
Or TV.
Right.
Or TV receiver, yeah.
So what kind of pull would this guy have? Is that just bluster, him talking about what he can do with social media? And
well, he'll need Congress, but he has it. I mean, he can't, he can't just decree things. I mean, any law changes are going to have to go through Congress that aren't in the Constitution. But I think you can do hearings and call into account social media companies. That's what you do. You drag their ass to Capitol Hill. You put them on TV. That's what they're afraid of. None of them want to sit in front of the Senate or in front of the House and answer questions. I think that's what you do. It's pressure. It's busting knuckles. It's beating somebody over the head with a sap.
If nothing more than, the X files showed us, Twitter files showed us exactly what was going on. It's what we all felt was going on in real time.
You knew it. You're not stupid.
Yeah, exactly. And so to end some of that stuff is very encouraging. And I've seen a lot of people I know that are like, oh, you join me on Blue Sky, like this kind of shit. And
Threads was the next great one too, until it wasn't. I mean,
it's so dumb to me. Like, okay, this behavior got us Truth Social, Rumble, stuff like that. It was the attitude of, if you don't like it, build your own.
Yeah, right.
Those were built, and we'll go out on this, Greg. I know you got to get the Roops over to the park. This was all built. Those Rumble's just a right wing, alt-right, blah blah blah. No, it was built for necessity. It was, and if you don't, I know they'd like to memory hole a bunch of this stuff. Donald Trump was banned from Twitter. The fucking president of the United States of America. He was banned for, quote, inciting violence on January 6th. Steven Crowder
a rowdy tour group.
Yeah, exactly. You mean the coup where the fucking Second Amendment gun nuts forgot their guns?
Yeah.
That group? Yeah. I mean, spare us all. It's embarrassing at this point.
It is.
Steven Crowder demonetized for, quote, hate speech and misinformation on YouTube. So when you demonetize someone with an audience size as big as Steven Crowder's, that's millions of dollars a year that usually bankrupts a company. Alex Jones banned from YouTube, Twitter, Facebook for spreading conspiracy theories. That was his crime. And, quote, hate speech. Milo Yiannopoulos banned from Twitter and the rest for inciting harassment. James O'Keefe banned from Twitter and the rest for misinformation policy violations. Okay? Are you getting the idea here of why?
Left-wing moderators.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Gina Carano fired from Disney for posting politically charged content. So did Pedro Pascal, by the way, her co-star.
Right.
He was on the other side of that argument, so didn't apply to him. Ryan Anderson, what was his crime? He wrote When Harry Became Sally, which critiqued trans ideology, removed from Amazon for framing LGBTQ plus identities inappropriately. Dennis Prager, probably one of the nicest guys in all of fucking media, PragerU, demonetized on YouTube for content policy breaches. Countless others. That's why you need it. So for all these people that I'm going to Blue Sky. No, you're doing that to create your own little safe space bubble. That's all that is. Rumble and Truth Social were created because of the list of shit I just gave you.
But it started with Parler.
Right.
Yep.
And then the Twitter's going to maintain itself. It's got 100 million users. 10 million users by Blue Sky doesn't mean shit. Threads shot up and then died. I've never gone on Threads. I went on Parler for like a day. It sucked. I went to True Social. Sucked.
Yeah.
You know, if you want Trump's memos, go to True Socials. That's all that is. No one else.
It's all
there.
it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you don't even need that because all his memos on True Social just get reposted to Twitter.
On Twitter.
Like,
yeah.
in the moment.
No, it's just sad because when you look at the actual statistics per CNN, what you had going on Twitter in 2022 was 68% were identified as Dems and 32% identified as GOP. And now what's going on Twitter? 48% Dems, 47% GOP. So what you're really saying by scrambling over is that sort of balance is you can't take.
Not for me.
You can't.
Right.
Yeah.
But they'll all be back.
They
can't quit.
Right. I think Stephen King's back already.
Is he really?
I thought I heard that the other day.
And just one last thing.
Yeah.
We have to stop assigning brains to actors and actresses in social life based on seeing them on the big screen. 9 out of 10 of them are idiots. And you know this.
Yes.
Most of the actors and actresses didn't graduate high school. You know?
Yeah.
So don't take your politics from someone like Taylor Swift, who I'm sure has never sat down and thought through the issues. I'm positive of it. You know, there are some who know their stuff, but most of them are just all emotion and feels. It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. It's the larger problem of having such a uniquely entitled society that has the luxury of spending their free time jacking off to the celebrity of someone else and putting them on some sort of pedestal. And Greg, I know you know what, I mean, even guys like us, know what it's like to have people look up to even our dumb opinions on the radio.
Right.
And meet you at a gig somewhere. Now multiply that by international fame. You're Johnny Depp. Why wouldn't you think you're entitled to more of an opinion than most?
How many like musicians, athletes, and movie stars have you met where you walked away going, I had a conversation with where you walked away going, what a fucking moron? I mean, there's a lot of them that I've met.
It's honestly, it's surprising, Greg, when you meet the one you go, that guy's sharp.
On the ball.
That guy's sharp.
On the ball.
That guy's good.
And they're few and far between because most of them have been coddled. They haven't lived in the real world. They've been, if they're athletes, they've been fawned over since they were 13 years old, and they have no clue.
Yeah. And it's not that they're morons. It's that they're as average, middle of the road, boring as all the rest of us.
Right.
That's really what it is. They're not like you think you're going to meet someone. It's like, oh my God, he's a wide receiver for the Lions. And then you talk to him and you go, he's as middle of the road, uninteresting, boring. Some of them are dumb and some of them are very smart, but cool. By and large, they're not cooler than anyone you know. In fact, more times than not, Greg, they're more annoying than normal people because people have kissed their ass for so long, they don't
Right.
have to. It's like the hot chick syndrome.
Right.
Like
just
they
do
don't
your-
have to be interesting or special or make you feel good because everybody makes them feel good
Yeah,
all the time.
Exactly.
You know?
And that's
Yeah,
why I resist the celebrity culture.
Yeah.
There's
It's-
some that I really like, and there most of them I'm just like, what a trip.
I respect their talent and what they do. Like
Sure.
I don't want to tell anybody to shut up and dribble, but I've made the
I do.
point many times. They're entitled to their opinion just as much as you and I are. That's fine. But
You
they
have
have
to
such
decide
a
how to weigh that opinion.
right. That's
Yeah.
where they're failing. That's where the disconnect. That's why shut up and dribble.
But that's where we fail because I know LeBron's stupid. I know he
Yes.
is. So anything he
Yes.
says should have no effect on me.
Yeah.
There's other guys who I know are smart, and I go, oh, okay,
Yeah.
interesting point. But Steve Kerr, the coach of the Warriors, is a moron.
Yeah.
Popovich is a moron.
Yeah.
And like on a scale of 1 to 10, I give them each about a 1 because they might be able to coach basketball, but I don't think they have a grasp of what's going on in the world. And I also don't. A lot of people just want to see their side win, so they'll say it's like rival fan bases on Twitter. We're going to the Natty still, even though Michigan just beat your ass. You know what I mean? So they'll get on today and they'll purposely talk nice about Hunter Biden's pardon, knowing damn well they were duped.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
have no
It's
respect for that.
that's the I think that's the most frustrating part. I keep telling G, for instance, I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of being fucking right all the time. I'm waiting for that one
Tired of winning.
person to go, man, I'm tired. I'm just tired of being right and no one going, dude, you know what? I got to be honest with you, man. I really fucked up and I bought some serious bullshit over the last couple of years and you were right. My bad. And I go,
shit.
hey, bro, we live and learn.
The
What do you
warden's
got?
pissed. She wants me off the show.
Oh, I bet.
Hey, Mike,
Oh,
get
that's-
that coont off the show and get in here. Oh, you're in trouble.
Oh boy, you're in big shit now.
No, you are.
I might actually give her your number, you dickhead,
I
and then
promise
you
I
deal
will
with her.
answer. I will answer her, and I'll put FaceTime on, and I'll just put it right up my butt crack.
Yeah,
Let her
yeah.
look at my hairy star.
She means well. I think she means well.
Yeah, they all think they mean well.
I think, yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? They all think they mean well. But anyway, go take the dog. I'll wrap up with Garrett. Thank you,
All
Greg, for
right.
being here. If you want to
No
do it later in the week, but just go take care of Oyst for me.
Yeah, she's waiting. We got to get there and we got to get home by. We got to get there. Give her an hour, and then they close at 8. So
Oh, okay, go.
standing by
go.
the door, staring at me.
Garrett, do you need to see him out or
I'm
can-
good.
Nope. He's
Okay.
good.
All right.
See you guys.
All right.
Take
See you,
care,
buddy.
Greg.
Thank you so much. So, Garrett, I know you had some opinions on the Biden pardon. Was there anything you were thinking?
Nothing that we didn't really cover. My whole thing is that I'm kind of upset that Biden got pardoned his kid for 2 things that I just think should totally be legal anyways, avoiding taxes and owning a weapon.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I
okay,
also-
you're libertarian showing.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
So it's like I don't have a problem with why he got pardoned because
Here's the
that's
thing
fine.
that
I am mad
here's-
that he lied.
they brought up charges with Hunter on the least consequential crimes
Exactly.
in reality, the tax one and the gun one. That gun story is interesting because he discarded that gun in a crack fucking bender in a dumpster near an elementary school.
Yeah.
Okay. Like there are other parts to that story that are just like, this guy was so fucking bananas off the wall, and the larger story is the more they have us talking about, oh yeah, his taxes and the poor guy he was an addict. Like, no, it's the intentional money laundering crime family abuses that the Bidens as a whole, whether it's James Biden, his brother Jim Biden, his sister, his fucking shitty kid,
Exactly.
his granddaughter and niece, they were all of the ones. If you look at the shell companies involved, all over the world, all these companies, they don't produce anything. This family produces nothing. They offer nothing. They don't have a product, yet they have dozens of shell companies around the world that when you look at the web, they are as corrupt a family as you get. So this idea of like, oh, no one's above the law, like bullshit. Your whole career has been lived above the law. Like,
no,
it's a
just
joke.
What you guys said. They strung it out long enough just to say like, oh, we're not beating up on Trump unfairly. We got Biden in jail too,
Right.
like Hunter.
Right.
It was bullshit. Just string it along until you get to the very end and then let him go.
It's unfair. It's really unfair to do to the American people. I don't expect people to get into the weeds on some of this stuff. And this is when they talk about the deep state, you're going to hear a lot of politicians on the circuit. They were all doing it Sunday morning about these guys talking about the deep state. I mean, with no proof. It's like, yeah, you motherfucker, you people are the ones flying above everybody else, Republican and Democrat. You swamp creatures, that's who they're talking about, Jamie Raskin. You, the yous of the world, the historically Joe Bidens of the world, who have shell companies that no one has to answer for, that has all kinds of pay-to-play links that nobody is accountable for, the insider trading that nobody's held accountable for.
It's the Nancy Pelosi who somehow trades better than Warren Buffett.
It's all of that. So when they talk about Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, no, he's a threat to the bureaucracy that has dominated this country. The fact that they freak out at Kash Patel or at this, that should excite you. Honestly, it should. You'll probably never be able to truly clean it up, but they've gotten so far away from what this country's founding was meant to look like, that this blob is, I don't know what they'll be able to do. I don't know how far how far up their ass and a problem RFK Jr. can be. But if you're someone that is like super high on the environment, and oh my God, we got to get this out of our food, the food supply, like you don't realize it because you've been lied to so much about what you think RFK Jr. is. RFK Jr. could have just as easily landed on the Democrat under. They could have. It would have been easier had they been smart enough on the Democrat side. He could have been part of Kamala's ticket, same way as Trump's. It was a coin toss. The difference is I don't think they're interested on the left right now, or the right for that matter, or the right. Trump's a different thing. So actually, him getting in there, he could be the sword that you're hoping to come through there and fix your food supply and your environmental issues. That dude's been suing these companies for he's an environmental lawyer.
Yeah.
So don't just fall into, hey, he's a vax denier. Like,
well,
no,
that's what I was going to say is
look a little further into it before you make those claims.
He could have ever ran on Kamala's ticket just because of the vax denier thing.
Right. Which is nonsense anyways.
It is.
He makes some very valid points about that.
They would have buried him for nothing.
Yeah. One of the things the warden said to me when I said like, hey, did you see your boy Joe Biden pardoned his son? And she went, Trump's way worse. She's like, I mean, grabbing women by the pussy, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, she actually said that. And I feel bad for her because that becomes the talking point. And it's like, I love, and I'll try at some point. It's not going to be anytime soon. But for those people that use that moment as a weapon, there was a point being made there. It's kind of like J.D. Vance's point about childless cat ladies. There was a larger point there. They're eating the cats and dogs. There was a larger point there. There was a larger point in Trump saying and it wasn't anything. Keep in mind at the time he made that comment on the extra bus with the Bush kid.
Nothing political going on.
There was nothing political going on. That's guys bullshitting and whatever. But Trump's point wasn't wrong. When you're famous, they'll let you grab him by the pussy. He's right. That's not wrong. When I said that Greg Henson and I, tiniest amount of like, hey, I know what that guy does. I've heard him on the radio before. That comes with a base level of like, hey, some people know who you are. They don't know what most people's jobs are, but they know what yours is. So that gives you they put you on a minuscule pedestal. And even then you can have that where chicks will put out. Like, that's a reality. Take that to the extreme of being an international celebrity with a top-rated, nationally syndicated TV show. The amount of women that would, it doesn't represent all women, but absolutely there are gobs and gobs and gobs of women who will throw themselves at you. Absolutely will do that. So his point, ineloquent as it may be, was not wrong. It wasn't wrong. It's not very presidential. He wasn't running for president then. You know, at the time that was said 15 years ago, whatever the hell it was. But, you know, I don't know. Anyways, should we do an email or two and get out of here?
Yep. Any raids too?
Yeah, maybe I should do some.
Might do one today, one tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe.
Just in case.
Always thinking, Garrett. This part of the show is brought to you by the Deer Lake Athletic Club. Offers a full gym, fitness classes, 3 pool. Is this the one? Or am I supposed to do a different one for them?
I think it's a different one.
You know what? Yeah, hold on. I still didn't print it out. God damn it. Let's do your insurance expert. Are you paying too much for health insurance? Are you uninsured? Health insurance can be confusing. Nick Matthews from Your Insurance Expert is just that. An expert in health insurance, life insurance, and Medicare supplements. That so you don't have to be. Call Nick Matthews at 248-914-1173. I should also tell people that it is Cyber Monday. If, you know, it would be a massive help to us if you just went to radiofor1.com, clicked on the Amazon link before doing your shopping. Every bit helps. If you're doing that stuff, and I know you all are, it's one time there, and then all your shopping there for the day is good. Just, you don't have to put in a code. You don't have to do anything. Just use that link and they kick back to us. I know someone that just spent $5,000 on Amazon the other day and remembered to go through our link. And that's huge. It really is. So if you remember that, if you're doing Amazon purchasing at work, anything like that, it's a big help. It really is. It's a very crowded field with people doing these sort of things. If you find a show you like, I suggest you support them as much as you can on those small levels. You're already spending the money shopping anyway. So, all right. Guitar picks. This from Alex. Hey, Walters and Woke Bay. Last episode, you guys were talking about picks and other items you've gotten from concerts. Garrett mentioned Polyphia. Did I say the name right?
Yep, that's correct.
Great band in their early days. I've seen them live with Coheed and Cambria, Between the Buried, and Me and the Contortionist.
Oh, awesome. Contortionist is amazing.
I don't know who any of these fucking bands are. I'm glad you're jacking off to this.
I am right now. This is between me and the emailer.
awesome live show. I too have a pick from them. Actually got one from Coheed's lead, Claudio Sanchez, at that same concert. That's all I had to say. Neat hearing those non-radio band names out in the wild. Yep. See ya, Alex. Yeah, he named a bunch of. He might as well have just.
They were all good bands. By the way, it's Between the Buried and Me. That's one band.
Oh, I thought it was just Between the Buried and Me and the Contortionist.
Nope.
He shows you what I know.
Between the Buried and Me is one band, and then the Contortionists are a different band.
Yeah, I was going to correct you when you said the Contortionist. I'm like, you mean Me and the Contortionist? Nope. Dummy. What's the matter with you?
You're the dummy.
You don't even know your fucking bands, Garrett. I'm glad I held off and didn't say that to you.
No, you're all good.
All right, let's give them some love. Coheed and Cambria. Good shit?
Yep, good shit.
Cambria?
Yep, you'll definitely recognize them.
I'll definitely recognize them.
They've done some soundtracks on movies, like if you've ever seen that animated movie 9 with like the little sad puppet guys. No, never mind.
Yeah, no. I knew that was coming. Between the Buried and Me. So are these...
These are all metal bands.
These are metal bands? Like what kind of metal?
Like very complicated style, like not screaming in your face all the time, but it's more technical. It's like the drums are very locked in with the guitar. It's very
what do they call
especially.
That? It's not new metal,
math rock.
What is it?
There's math rock, which is close to that. Math metal, stuff like that.
So
it's
are these guys
very timed out?
Do they play like the 8-string guitars and shit?
Yes. Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff? Yep. What was it? Prog rock? It wasn't prog.
Prog is one of them like that, but prog is more like Dream Theater.
Okay, yeah, but very technically
Yes.
good players. Very
Yep.
technically good. Their time signatures are crazy, like
Yeah,
that kind of shit.
The best way to say is the contortionists are like a heavy tool.
Okay. You know what? Honestly, I'm gonna piss people off, but I was never a huge Tool guy.
That's fine.
I
love
do
them.
have I respect the shit out of them. I really do, but
Nope.
there's something about it I never connected with. Really, I have gotten. There has been some time. Troy actually got me more into Tool, believe it or not.
I've been
they're-
using exclusively Danny Carey drumsticks my whole life.
Yeah, Danny Carey's an absolute legend.
yeah.
No doubt about that. No doubt about that. Well, it's good to see you, Alex. Thank you for the email. We certainly appreciate it. Walters at DetroitCast.com if you want to email in, especially when Garrett says something. I know I've heard from many people who are like, it's funny listening to you and Garrett because you guys cross so much on, like, he says something that goes right over your head and vice
Yep.
versa. I'm like, yeah, that's
the fun of it. We got jokes for different parts of the audience.
yeah, but I'm aware of it though. I'm sure you are too.
Yeah.
Jen Psaki. Hey, Mike, someone needs to tell Jen Psaki how rare school shootings are. Okay, so this goes back probably a week and a half ago, I'm guessing, to when Jen Psaki was talking about how rare it was that this trans thing. Like, why are we even like this is so rare that there's biological males in girls' sports. That's what her point was, and my point was like, it's so rare that this guy raped someone. I mean, what? Like,
Rare.
he went years. Yeah, why are we even talking about this? Yeah, he violently raped one person once. Jesus Christ, get over
So
it.
far, I've gone 27 years without a rape.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm doing
come on,
great.
man.
It's very rare that I would do that.
It's the O.J. Simpson point. Like, his entire life, he lived 67 years. He had one rough night. What the fuck? Why are we still talking about this? What? Like, what? You're gonna?
We all have
you're
a
gonna
bad
forget
night
everything
every
else?
once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, so he had a rough night. That would be Jen Psaki's argument in this. Like, what? No, Jen, you're talking about Olympic fucking medals going to biological at this point. Like, it's not just like, why are we even talking about this? This hardly ever even happens. It's the boogeyman. Like, no, it's a little more than that. So, anyways, not to interrupt Good Connor's email. Someone needs to tell Jen Psaki how rare school shootings are. I'm sure she would agree no changes need to be made to gun policy because of how rare school shootings are. Hi, Woke Bay, with love, Connor. Pronouns huge and cock.
Those are acceptable.
Are they?
I accept them.
I
accept huge cock. That's what I'm trying to say.
If what he means by that, when Connor says huge and cock, it's like, do you know Connor Bruin? And you go, yeah, he's a huge cock.
Yeah.
Then
Bruin,
I'm with him.
huge cock in the parentheses. He can sign his emails. Huge cock.
Yeah, or he is a huge cock. That would be closer if it was like Connor. Yeah, huge cock.
Yeah.
Do you mean that as in like he has a huge cock or he is a huge cock?
Well, no, the pronouns are just huge and cock. I'm assuming they're separate. So it's
Yeah.
like sometimes it's huge, sometimes it's cock, depending on the plural. I don't know which one's which yet, but I think it's just so he can sign his emails off. Connor Bruin, huge cock.
Yeah. He put him in. This is the first time I've seen him put pronouns in his emails.
There you go.
It would be a real bummer if other people started putting their pronouns in their emails too.
Send us your pronouns. Make them up.
Yeah,
Nobody cares
absolutely.
anymore.
All right, let's get out of here. Let's call it a day there. Working on some things, but Garrett and I will be here for sure. It's getting kind of exciting here. The electrician shows up Wednesday, I believe, to put the new box in so that the AC unit can be installed. And the guy is putting in new lighting in there today. So today and tomorrow, this week, he's here doing some of that stuff. So we're making our way slowly but surely.
Nice.
Making our way. So have a great rest of the day, everybody. Thanks for listening. And we'll do it again